Hey guys, what's going on? BizzyDad here. You there checking out my recap video of the pre-release event for Echoes of the New World that took place at my locals this past weekend. And I was really excited to go down and play because I've never actually done a pre-release. Usually when the new sets come out, I will order a box and just go through the packs and then pick up what I need. Never actually got to do the pre-release, but this time around I did not order a box as of yet. And I said, hey, how about we go check out the pre-release? And it was a chance to actually play because the Force of Will scene at the local has been really dead lately. And this is the first event that I remember playing there in a long time. So it was actually fun to go down and play and see some old faces and actually meet a couple of new ones. So just a quick shout out and hello to Scott and Kyrin. Actually, these two guys new, never seen them before, but Kyrin actually is a pretty big name in the Force of Will community. He was in the World Championships in Tokyo last year, and he travels around the GP circuit, and he's been hitting top 8s and top 16s even this year too. So it was really nice to meet the both of them. Really cool guys. Just like to talk about the game. Really nice, real friendly. Just thumbs up. High marks for them. So hello, if you're listening to this. Yeah, I was that guy. So before we get into it, first wanted to just show you the promo that you get for playing in the pre-release, and it is Abdul Al-Hazra, the Poet of Madness, straight from Vingolf 3. You didn't get a Vingolf 3 box? Well, here was a chance to pick up your copy of the much-loved, much-hated, much-coveted Abdul. He's now all over the place, and the new art really does look cool. So just entering the pre-release, you got that. And if there's any indication on how the pre-release went, if I can just pick this up and zoom out for a second, the pre-release, exclusive pre-release playmat with Maria Bella shooting down Machina, who's blocking or dabbing, as I like to say. It's the card art for both of them. But this is the playmat for topping. So spoiler alert, hint, hint, I was able to top the event and grab one of the playmats. So really excited about that. And I'm going to go over the deck and the ruler that I ended up using for the event. It really was a lot of fun, and I've never done a pre-release, so I'll just explain how everything went down. You go there, you enter, you get the 6 packs and the promo. And then you open the 6 packs, you get your 60 cards. You have to make a 20-card deck. Now, if you pull any rulers, obviously, you're allowed to use them. If not, you are able to just proxy a ruler from the set. And that's what I thought. And there was discussion going around with the players that you were able to proxy any ruler from the cluster. I have absolutely no idea what the ruling was. There was talk back and forth. But then what ended up happening was they were bringing out the proxy printouts of all the rulers from the set. And I guess just based on what everybody was opening, everybody just fell into line and were just using the proxy rulers. So only one person pulled a ruler out of their packs that I saw. And that person actually pulled 2 rulers out of their pre-release pack. Someone else got a God pack with the super rares, I believe. I don't know exactly what, but someone was screaming about a God pack. Someone was screaming about pulling 2 rulers. Everyone was pretty excited. I did not really get anything huge. Got a few super rares, a couple of full arts, a couple of really cool cards that I'd be interested in playing that we'll go over with later, but none of those actually made the deck that I ended up using. So I ended up, and I kept this for momentum, a memento, if you will, but it is the Book of Light, and it was printed out, so this is just the proxy ruler that we get to use. When I opened the packs, I basically just took the cards that made the most sense, and they leaned towards the Will of Hope. So I ended up just going with the Book of Light, with the Judgment of X. I never flipped it over because we weren't allowed to sideboard. Energize for Light. You can't have cards with Will of Despair in your deck, which is funny because when I did not realize that, and when I first put the deck together, I had 2 cards for Will of Despair. So that was a really late change that I had to make. And you could pay the attribute cost of cards with Will of Hope with any attribute, which was really strong. And so that's what I went with. I had good Will of Hope support and just some complementary cards that went with it. So I ended up going with a white-black build. It's a 20-card deck, 8-card stone deck, and you had 20 life, 2,000 life in the game. So I just split it right down the middle, 4 basic light stones, 4 basic dark stones. I was okay with that because even if I whiffed on a stone, as long as I had a Will of Hope play, I was able to use any stone that I had to make the play possible. So let's get into the deck that I actually used. Sorry, I'm shifting the camera around, but I will go over the deck that I was used. So first off with the resonators. So I had 1 copy of Sky Gazing Girl. So it's a one light human resonator, not Will of Hope. So this was just kind of, hey, I needed a 1-drop. And this deck ended up being very resonator heavy. So 3/3, rest it, target resonator with Will of Hope, gains +2/+2 until end of turn. So if I got her to stick and she stayed out for a while and I had other Will of Hopes, she would be able to come out and just rest, pump it up +2/+2 for the turn, hopefully before recovery, and then maybe could do it again. Who knows? 1 copy of Red Riding Hood. This is a really cool card for the deck. It's a 1-drop. It's red, but it's Will of Hope. So as long as I had the Book of Light, I could use anything to pay for Red Riding Hood. 4/4 with a seal of 3. So as long as I controlled 3 magic stones, it gained flying and swiftness. So a 4/4 with flying and swiftness on turn 3. Or if it was just out on the field, it would just gain flying as soon as I got 3 magic stones. I put a heavy emphasis on flying in this deck because I just felt that if I can get, with only 2,000 life, if I can get some flyers out there and get damage in early, I would have an advantage and hopefully win the game. And it did work really well. Here was a killer card, the Corrupted 1-Inch Boy. So this is a 2-drop fairy tale, 1 dark, 1 other to play, 0 attack, 400 defense. When this card isn't blocked while attacking your opponent, target opponent loses 1,000 life, which is just incredibly insane in a 2,000 life gain. If the 1-Inch Boy is out there, I attack my opponent. If there's no way for them to block, they're losing 1,000 life. I will come back to this card because there's a play that I had that won me a few games. So we'll keep coming back to that. 1-Inch Boy was really good in this deck. So 2 copies of Arla's Blackwing Guard. You center this. Oh, it's a 2-drop, 4/6 Angel with flying. The card will gain +2/+2 as long as you control a resonator with Will of Despair. You can't have Will of Despair in the deck, so that was not an issue. But it was a flyer and just a body. And again, flying damage, that's what I was looking for here. 2 copies of that. We had 2 copies of Light Dragon's Egg. So it's a dragon resonator for 2. 1 light, 1 other, 0 attack, 400 defense. When the card is put into a graveyard from your field, you put a 6/6 Light Dragon Resonator token with flying into your field. So again, just trying to back into flyers and flying damage. Also with Inheritance, if you pay 1 light and 2 of others and discard the card, again, you put the same 6/6 Flying Dragon token into your field. And I was actually lucky enough to pull one of the tokens. So here is one side of it. And here is the other 6/6 Flying Dragon token. And got the dragon token. I think I got the dragon token out once or twice during the whole event, which was kind of cool. Nice to know that when the egg cracks, that dragon is coming out there. Egg is hatching. Christie, a 2-drop. So it's Will of Hope, 1 green, 1 of other. It's a 5/6 elf. When the card enters your field, remove target darkness resonator from the game. That came in handy because I came up against another 1-Inch Boy, and I came up against Mikage Sisters, so I was able to just put Christie down and just get rid of the threat, so it actually came in really handy there. 2 copies of Dark Alice Manifestation of Rage. So I pulled 2 of these super rares, including a full art. She looks gorgeous. So 2-drop Wanderer, but Will of Hope. So come out for anything. 2 to play, 5/5. When the card enters your field, remove all resonators in your opponent's graveyard from the game, and for each one removed this way, put a +1/+1 counter on the card. Then, when Dark Alice leaves her non-field zone, you put 100 Shadow Resonator tokens into the field for each counter she has on the card, which is really cool. And she also releases the seal abilities of all darkness cards you control. So she did come in handy. The games were really quick. This deck was surprisingly fast. My games were over on turn 3 for the most part. So she really didn't get the full potential. But when she did come out, I was able to remove a Resonator or 2 if they were in the graveyard. and get a counter. If she died, it would get the token out there. So she served her purpose, but I think in a longer game, she could be very dangerous, especially late game in the Will of Hope. One copy of Spirit of Protection. This is a 3-drop. These are my more expensive resonators. So it's an 8/8 Spirit, but whenever this card blocks, recover it. It gains +2/+2 until end of turn. So that is really cool. You could block. It goes up to 10/10, but it's then also recovered. It could block again if necessary. Might not be able to take 2 hits, but you pumped up its attack to 1,000. So it's going to swing back for 1,000 twice and maybe kill a resonator or 2 of your opponents. One copy of Grim, the Rightful King. So here's a Will of Hope. Human, 2-drop, 1 light, 1 other, 5/7. When the card enters your field, you may destroy a target edition, and if you do, search your deck for a Fairy Tale Resonator, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Did pull this combo off once where my opponent had the new barrier shadows out. I was able to bring Grim in, destroy the edition, search my deck for the Fairy Tale, which was the corrupted 1-inch boy. He's a Fairy Tale. Got to put it right into my hand. So I was able to get the interaction there too, which was kind of cool. And he's Will of Hope, so he comes out for anything. Does a good job. Final Resonator was Millium, Successor of the Future, the other super rare that I pulled. These are the only 3 super rares I pulled. 2 of the Dark Alice and 1 of Millium. That was no rulers, nothing else like that. So an 8/8 Will of Hope Human, but really just strong. Other Resonators with Will of Hope gain +2/+2 and Barrier. So the few times the game did get long enough for me to get him out there, he just became a real problem. And a Seal of 5, you get 5 Magic Stones, he gets Barrier too. I never got to 5 Magic Stones, I don't believe, but just having him out there protecting all the other Will of Hope Resonators and pumping them up +2/+2 was really a nuisance, especially if you can get him out there turn 3 and really just help put the game away. That was it for Resonators, so now we'll just go into spells and additions. I had the Ancient Bauble, which is a 1-drop edition. You bestow it for 1 light and rest. And whenever the bestowed Resonator blocks, recover it against +2/+2 until end of turn. So just kind of like the Spirit of Protection, it's that same effect. You put that on there, pump it up +2/+2 when it blocks, and it recovers. Never actually bestowed it. Got it on the field once, but never bestowed it. 1 copy Schrodinger's Box, so it's another edition for 1 dark. Then again, you bestow it for a dark and rest it. At the end of turn, if bestowed Resonator attacked this turn, destroy it. I think that's really cool. Never saw this card, never played it. I think I got it a couple times in deals, and I just mulliganed for it because there were other cards in this deck I really wanted to see. As you'll see coming up, my MVP cards. But this card's pretty interesting. Get it on the field, especially when your opponent has a Resonator that's going to do a lot of damage. They want to attack with it. Just slap this on them. Once that Resonator attacks, it's going to have to get destroyed at the end of turn. So pretty cool. Just never actually got to use it. And I had a Neo Barrier of Shadows. Got it once. So it's a 2 dark edition. Your opponent pays 1 more to play activate abilities of Resonators they control. With a Seal of 8, they can't play activate abilities at all. And that does sound pretty crazy, but the Dark Alice card for 2 says release all Seal abilities. So you get Dark Alice on the field, and you put the Neo Barrier of Shadows, that no activate abilities at all, which is kind of cool. But again, with the pre-release and only 2,000 life, the games weren't going long enough to see effects like that. 1 copy of Release, a 2-drop chant, 1 light, 1 other. Put a non-Magic Stone card from your removed area into your hand. Draw a card. There really was not many scenarios where I could have used this. Only once, I believe, somebody removed one of my Resonators from the game. And if I had this card, I could have actually played it, brought it back into my hand, and draw a card. But again, this actually was one of the replacement cards when I had to bring out the Will of Despair cards I was putting in there by mistake. So now the 2 MVP cards that really just helped me win my games. 1, Final Battle. Now I pulled 3 of these in the actual pre-release packs, but I only put 1 in my deck because with only 2,000 life, this is not something you're going to want to pull off more than once. So it's a chant. 1 dark and X, and instead of X, you could use your stones for X, or you could pay 200 life for each one. So if you don't want to pay a stone for X, you pay 200 life. 200 life equals 1X. J Resonators your opponent controls gain -X until end of turn. And this really is just a board wipe to set up the winning play. And I actually did this a couple of times. One was with, and I believe, was it Christie? Or was it? No, it was Millium. So I had Millium on the field on my board. and it was my turn. I had a good amount of life. I believe I have 1,600 life at this turn. So I played Final Battle. Now my opponent's Resonators, the most expensive, the strongest one had 800 defense. So I ended up paying 1 for the dark, and then it was the 4th turn. So I had 3 stones. So I paid 3 stones for 300, and I still needed to knock down another 500 life defense. So I paid 1,000 life. It was such a crazy play. So I paid 1 dark, 3 stones, and 1,000 life to negate my opponent's board -8, -8. They lost all their Resonators. They only had, I think they were down to like their last 500 or 600. And now here's Milliam all alone. The board's wiped. Swing for 800. Game over. So, I mean, it's a really risky play. I made sure my opponent was tapped out. So there couldn't be any cancels or pumps or anything like that in order to pull Final Battle off, which is just crazy. But able to just give up half my life to put the game away. Final Battle, really cool card. I know people were discussing that. Is it broken or not? I don't know, but it definitely came in handy in a pre-release. Such a crazy event. But an even crazier card that I was able to pull 2 of and use to max advantage. And this is Riola's Volition, which is a quick cast, a 3-drop quick cast chance. You can do this at any time. But if this targets a Will of Hope Resonator, you only pay 1 of anything. You actually pay 1 light and 1 of other less. So for any color, any stone you have, if you're targeting one of your Will of Hope Resonators, this is just 1, and it's insane. Target J Resonator gains +8/+8, barrier, and flying until end of turn. I mean, if you just think about how really insane that is, especially in a format where you only have 2,000 life. Turn 2, drop Grim, who is a 5/7, Will of Hope. Turn 3, for 1, you hit Riola's Volition on him. He now becomes 13/15, flying barrier. And if they don't have any flying blockers, I mean, that's just the game. You're just swinging for 13. At this point, it's probably the game. I would hit this on turn 2 sometimes on the Red Riding Hood. Now on turn 2, Red Riding Hood is a 12/12 flying with barrier. But the real kick in the pants was playing it on Corrupted 1-Inch Boy. Now, he's not Will of Hope, so I had to pay the full 3. But I would pay the full 3 on the 1-Inch Boy. He now becomes an 8/12 flying with barrier. If they don't have any flyers on the field, you attack your opponent. 800 flying takes it, because there's no block. There is no block. Lose 1,000 life. In a 2,000 game, on 1 turn, I just hit you for 1,800, and that won me a couple of games too. Completely insane mechanic in the pre-release for a 2,000 life. And like I said, a couple of times I'm just able to end the game on the 3rd turn because of this play right here. Just completely insane. And yes, I realized it was ridiculous, but it was the pre-release. It was the rules in place. And hey, I'm not sorry. Someone else had the same combo in their hand, except not with the 1-Inch Boy. They were playing white-red, and I forget what the card was, but he was playing the same exact thing. So, to recap, it was 4 rounds. I went 3-1. I won the first 3 rounds, and then lost in the final round against Scott, who was also 3-0, running the same Book of Light, and he was running the white-red combo. I was running the white-black combo. So, really was a lot of fun. Glad to get the playmat, which I think is really cool, and they gave out promos as well as for prizes, so I was able to get Summoning from the Fairy Tale World, which looks pretty cool, and one that I was really pumped to get was Priscilla Pursuit of Exploding Flame, the Christmas promo. I know it's old, but I never got a copy of it, so I was so happy to get this as part of the promo too, with the prizes, so a lot of fun. Thank you to the locals. Thank you to everyone who showed up. It really was a lot of fun, and I'm not going to go over every card I got in the packs, but just a couple of the ones that I was happy to pull. I got the Ahriman Wicked Spirit Eye, and I know it's an uncommon, but it's foil, so it looks cool. But it's a Will of Despair, and I love the ability for 0. Your opponent reveals their hand. Got to play it only once per turn during your turn, but really when you want to set up for a big play, what better way to make sure your opponent doesn't have a cancel or a counter or a buff or anything that's going to stop? You just look at their hand. Oh, you don't have it? All right, now I'm coming. I'm swinging away. I'm going to have my big play. I did get a Yigdor as part of my rares. I'll go over the rest of the rares that I got. So I got Yigdor, Beast of Disaster, a Mikage Seijuro, Patriarch of the Vampires. Got Viola, the Vengeful Ebon Dragon. This is pretty interesting. So Flying Swiftness, 8/8. Whenever the card attacks, destroy another Resonator chosen at random. So yeah, if you have any Resonators on the field when Viola attacks, your Resonators are on the line, but if she's the only one and your opponent has Resonators, one of them is definitely going. Actually got Yamata no Orochi, which is kind of cool. Also pulled a full art of the time-altering Magic Stone. This is the one that makes blue, or rest and banish it, and you shuffle cards into your deck. It looks really pretty in full art. Sorry for the glare there, but it does look really nice. And I was also able to get, here's the one I was really most interested in, is Valentina, Crumbling Illusion. This card is really fun. I'm hoping to get more. So it's a big 7-drop, but you pay one less for each Resonator in your graveyard. In the beginning of your turn, put a Resonator from your graveyard into your field. So this is a fun card. A lot of things could definitely be happening with that, and looking forward to it. But guys, that is it. Just a quick, show the book one more time. But that is one more look at the recap of the pre-release. I really had a lot of fun. It was nice to meet Scott and Kyrin. Good luck. Hope to see you guys again soon at the local for more events. And I want to know what you guys think. Did you guys do a pre-release? Let me know how yours went. Did you get any good pulls? Anybody else take home the playmat? Like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. Love our discussion. Always more videos coming soon. Echoes of the New World out this weekend. Thanks for a few minutes. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.